Hello and welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian and there's Lauren. Well, this is the kettlebell class, week 1 of semester 2. And before I confuse the words, Lauren, just take it over from there.
All right, it's week 1 of a 6-week plan here.
Excellent.
Last semester, we worked on our two-handed swings and worked all the way up to 100 two-handed swings. And this semester here, we'll be focusing on our single arm swing and progressing our clean and ultimately combining it to a clean squat press routine
Combo.
to come to you in 6 weeks. So let's progress our skills. Let's first start with our body weight warm-up, and then we'll get our kettlebell skills going. Until then, as mentioned, body weight warm-up.
Body weight.
So put that off to the
We
side.
have what we need, so let's start with that. Maybe place your hands behind your back, lightly clasp the hands, and at the shoulder blades, a 1% shoulder retraction. That's that squeeze together. And at the head neck, casually do the extension, looking towards the ceiling, and then the flexion, looking just a little bit towards the floor. We'll repeat 2s of everything here as we go extension, looking up, and then flexion, looking down, and return the head or eyes on the horizon. Then it's a lateral ear to shoulder. As we do these movements, we'll return through center, aim to move the head, but move the neck very little. Neck is a stability joint, so treat it with respect and move the head instead of moving the neck. That's 4 or 2 each for me. And lastly, I'll just add the rotation of looking towards Lauren. Crown head high, making room. Other way, keep breathing, rotate through center, 2 each side, which means there's 1 more for me to go to the left, and then back into the middle. Then let's just get in that squatting vibe. So maybe open your stance to squat. Cues for that include kneecaps pointing the same direction as your middle toe. Now let's just place the hands across the body and just pick up with that side flexion right away, that up and over action, return to tall, and same thing other side. Return tall. Soften the side you flex to, and then engage those muscles on that side to pull yourself back upright. Soften to one side, gravity does the work there, and then we need to build against gravity to get tall. Modest and small shapes here. We'll get in touch with that shield of abs as we lightly squeeze your shoulder blades. Practice a slight flexion or rounding shape through the rib cage, and then pull the abdominals down to help extend the T-spine or the rib cage up. Repeat that once more of a light shoulder blade retraction and the flexion forward, and then pull down. Test your shield already. Breathe behind it, and return to the middle. We'll save rotation through the core here from a lunge position on the floor. I'll get there, and Lauren will pick it up once we get to the ground. So with that feet, check the kettlebell behind you, make sure we're not in the way. With your feet in parallel, let's just step back to the lunge, and just a little bit of a hula hoop here, and then just step back, and do the same thing on the other side. We're always aware of the level hips and the tucking and tipping. Go everywhere and find that place that's nice and strong in the center for you. So step together. Now let's just get to the floor, stepping back, finding that space, and pull yourself down by driving that back knee forward. Let's just get to 2 knees. And now that we're down here, take it away.
Excellent. Let's bring one leg forward again into that lunge position. From this lunge position, this is where we'll get up out of our get up. So let's warm it up. Push down with that front leg. Squeeze that back butt cheek, extending your back hip. Feel the pull together first of tension, and then feel the down and away tension pushing forward and back that might even allow you to hover off the floor. And then pull yourself back down. Heel toe that leg open to the side. Again, same position as the get up. Knee is pointing diagonally, same as the ankle. Next, let's take this arm that can touch this leg and place it across our chest. Here's our rotations Ian alluded to. We'll take our upper body and we'll gently rotate our head and shoulders towards that side leg. Then we'll hinge, pushing the hips towards the back wall, and the hand will find the floor. Once it's on the floor, we'll pull ourselves so our shoulders are stacked over top of each other. With that hand gripping the floor, let's take our head and first look at the hand on the floor, and then let's follow that with our rib cage or our upper body. As we do that, keep those shoulders lightly retracted, keep the knee to the side, take a breath, rotate your head to look at the ceiling, and then your upper body to follow. Breathe, keeping the knee open. One more time, head looks down, rib cage looks down, and then head will open back up and cage will open back up. Once we're open here, we press the floor away, extend the hips. The head and shoulders will rotate back to center. We'll heel toe the leg through. We'll zip it underneath and we'll repeat on the other side. So other leg comes up to that lunge position. Again, being aware of those hips, we're gently tucking under the back hip and pulling the front leg in. So right now we have that scissor in the forward backwards direction, or pulling to center. Then we'll change the force of the vectors, pushing forward and back, allowing you to hover off the floor. If you hover, stay stacked over top of those hips. Soft landing. Heel toe that leg open to the side. Once it's at the side, we'll take that same arm as the side leg, place the arm across the chest. At the head, we'll rotate towards that leg, and then we'll add the rotation through the upper body. We'll hinge on the hip, pushing the hip back so the hand softly lands on the floor. Before you do your rotation, stack your shoulders over top of that wrist. Then the head will look at the hand on the floor, and that upper body will follow. Keeping that knee pushing to the side, breathe, then head will open up and upper body will rotate open. One more time, head looks down, shoulders rotate closed. Head looks open, body looks open. Hand pushes away, hips extend, head and shoulders square up, heel toe the leg to the front of the room, push forward and back, pretend to hover again, and then bring that knee back underneath us. Excellent. I think we're feeling rocking.
Right on.
We are going to get started into our get up position here and perform one get up on each side. So whether it's with a body weight or a kettlebell, let's start one nice get up, getting back into our groove with our kettlebell here.
These are lighter bells for us this week, as this is week 1. We'll get a little bit heavier. We can't always get heavier with those bells. We can just fill in our technique for strength. So we'll start in our cuddle position, roll to our back with that 2-hand press. It's that hip drive that gets us to the elbow, and we look at the bell, and then we transition to the tall sit. We bridge and sweep, and we're back to that windmill position, and then square up the lunge, core brace to tall stand, and then pull yourself down as Lauren described in that lunge warm-up, and then open the hip, rotate under the bell, sweep that back leg through, find the elbow, and core brace. 2 hands on, cuddle it down, and we'll repeat on the other side.
So this get up is a complicated move, but once you have it, you'll realize how much you use parts of it in your life. If you're not familiar with it, maybe practice it body weight, follow along with the basics videos, and slowly progress this pattern. Hip pull to elbow, squish the bug, keeping that bottom elbow straight as we sweep underneath, pressing the floor away. Front leg moves, we're in that lunge position to stand back up. Control the down, step to open, rotate hinge, sweeping back through, finding the elbow, and pressing away to the floor. We'll pull the bell down, we'll cuddle it, and for now, we'll leave the get-ups at that, but don't you worry, there'll be more to come later.
Excellent.
So as promised, we're progressing into our single arm activities. To do those progressions safely and appropriately, we must first start with a deadlift. As any good swing comes from, it comes from a good deadlift. So taking the bell of your choice, we'll stand right over top of it. Next, we'll use our hinge and push both hips back. Once both hips are back here, make sure all 10 toes are gripping the floor, spine is nice and long, core is braced. Let's just press to tall. I talked a lot through that. Let's do it again. This time, hip hinge. We'll grip the bell with one hand. I like to have my off hand still out front to ensure my shoulders stay square. Pack your shoulder that's gripping the bell. Preload, so put some tension in those butt cheeks and then lift the bell up. Let's keep it in front of us. We do have quads, and we do have a kettlebell, so that will lightly make the shoulder come forward. Try to retract it, and then hip hinge, put it right almost behind you. Let's repack the shoulder and repeat 2 more times on this side. Preload, lift up, stay square, keep the brace on the down. One last time, up, and then hip hinge, bell goes down, let go, up without. I like to call the hip hinge here or that deadlift like you're a silverback gorilla. So even though my hips are going back, I'm still keeping my chest somewhat up to the front of me versus right down towards the floor. We're all made differently. Find your hinge, but it should look something like that. Hip hinge, be a silverback. Pack your shoulder, preload, retract the shoulder, use your hinge, put it back down. I think that's the sound a silverback makes. Up, retracted shoulder, stay square, place it down. We have one last time. Up, and bell goes down. We'll add on to those progressions as we go through today's class.
And always come back to those basics if the drill we do present feels a little bit too challenging for you today. As Lauren mentioned, we'll be integrating the squat as part of the 6-week semester as well. So make sure your space is clear and pull yourself down to your safe squat. It could be this high or low, or that high or that low, but continue to root yourself through the feet and pull your knees to the back wall. And like that silverback stance, keep your chest or sternum up or forward. Now break some of those squatting rules and we'll just walk ourselves into a high planks position here and replicate some of the tension we want to achieve in our swings and squats. So without moving, this isometric, pull the hands to the feet for 10 and squeeze your butt cheeks and maintain your breath. And have you found your shield of abs yet today for 3 more seconds? 2, 1. And then let's just tip your hips like a cow into that down dog shape. And we'll walk ourselves back up to standing, practicing those hinge techniques like Lauren shared of the butt being above the knees and the shoulders just slightly above the hips or butts. Push your hips through, stand up tall, and one more unique position with that warm up.
All right, next we're going to warm up that rack position. Again, we'll be progressing our single arm swings to swings and then ultimately to cleans. But before we explore that more ballistic clean, we must explore what a clean feels like. So what we'll do is we'll pick it up with 2 hands. We'll use our hinge, the bell is still between our feet. We'll grip with one hand, then we'll cuddle with the second. Pack your shoulders, lift with the hips, drive through, and bring that bell into the rack position. If you feel ready, let go with that second hand. Let's check in with the rack position. The bell is resting on our forearm. Might be slightly touching our bicep, but more on forearm. Wrist is nice and straight underneath that bell. It's stacked over top of our elbow. Our elbow is beside our chest, and we're ribs to hips. Try not to let that bell pull you down. We're almost lifting up and forward, holding that bell on our core here. We're thinking we could press out of this position or we could squat from this position. For 3, 2 hands on, unzip your jacket, keep it tight, put it right down between your feet, stand up without. Repeat that drill on the other side. Hip hinge, grip with one, cuddle with the other hand. Preload, zip punch, pull that bell up. Let go with that other hand if you're ready. Do the checklist. Wrist over top of elbow, nice and straight. Squaring up your body to the front of the room. Rib cage on top of hips. Breathing. Elbow is in. I don't want to see any chicken wings. They're delicious, but they're not for here. Hold it in tight for 5, 3, 2 hands on. Keep it tight to the body and place it down. Stand up without. Whew.
And then it's time to squat. So find your squat stance, and Lauren's hips and leg lengths are tremendously different than mine, and yours are probably as well. So find your stance, but the hallmarks again include slight turn out of the feet, pointing towards maybe that 10 and 2 position on a clock face, and then most importantly that your kneecaps face the same way. Push your feet out. You shouldn't go anywhere. That's that up phase of the squat, and we're here. So when we pull ourselves down, feel the pull energy to descend. Take your time, take your breath, sneezes and squats. Some people have that allergic reaction. It's okay, but it is okay down here. And just make sure that you're breathing to reinforce that that is a true statement, or it gives that opportunity to say, whoa, I need a little bit of a step back. But until then, push the feet out, push the hips through, and we're done squatting for at least right now.
All right, we'll progress that single arm swing today, first by breaking down the swing. Our first breakdown is going to be our hike pass. So what we'll do is we'll revisit our setup. As we teach the setup, we like to teach toes touch to the bell, pivot on one foot 90 degrees, pivot on the toes. Other foot 90 degrees, toes. Rock back and forth. This is approximately the distance you'll start away from that bell. As we practice so much of those two-handed swings, we're ready for those single arm swings. So what we'll do, the hike pass is the same, it's just with one arm. We hinge, we grip the bell, we tip it on its side. The other arm is going to follow the bell, but to the outside of the hip. Stay in the same height, chest is lifted, core is braced. We'll pull the bell to the zipper and then park. Let's repeat. Pull, park. We're pulling with that lat. We're staying steady with our core and our feet rooted on the floor. Last one on this side. Park the bell. Stand up without. Shake it out. Repeat the same activity on the other side. Hip hinge, grip, tip the bell. Pull to zipper, park. Pull to zipper, park. 3 more. Pull. Stay that same height. Engage the lats. Keep the core braced. Last one. Place the bell down. Stand up without. Give that a little shake.
Whew. Shake it out to reassess and to check in. As Lauren checks in with her own body today, we'll be taking our time getting into that squat position. Could we now imagine holding that kettlebell in the rack position? It could be appropriate to hold this double racked position. Personally, I take that off arm and hold it out to the side. So let's collectively take a single breath in at the top, tightening up, and just pull yourself down to your safe position. And then up to tall stand. As we descend this time, avoid that chicken wing, so no elbows pointing forward. Instead, have your elbow pointing down to the ground or down to the hip. Once you're at your bottom, core brace to stand tall. Shake it out. Maybe toss that imaginary kettlebell over to there. And we'll do the same thing. Where do you like that hand? This is safe. This is appropriate too. Find the place that's unique to you and gives you the balance and strength. And then a effort to stand tall. We pull ourselves down so it's always under control. And then we press those feet away as you stand up. And then let it reset. We'll be progressing that swing from a deadlift into the hike pass and now into the stop. And again, go back to the basics if this next progression looks a little too advanced for you today.
So as Ian said there, we were progressing into our single arm stop swing. That's one full swing, stop the bell, repeat. Let's let Ian go so we can talk about it and then I'll go. Hip hinge, grip the bell with one hand, pack your shoulder. You'll do your, can you switch arms? You'll do your hike pass first, and then the bell will come through, pop, hinge, place down. As you can see, these are all the pieces of the puzzle we just learned. We learned our hike pass and our deadlift. We learned our plank right there. So we're putting it together in a more ballistic fashion. As you can see, that off arm is swinging with them as he does this. I'll do the other side.
I go, you go is also a common rep scheme we use today. So 3 repetitions here. Emphasize the power, but also that control. The only sounds we hear is a nice exertion sound of Lauren's breath, and then the abs. They always make sounds on Lauren too.
Let's do the other 3 together. Hip hinge, grip bell, pull, swing, through, park, repeat, pull, punch you in the stomach. You have abs that can take that punch, but you're able to breathe underneath. Park, up without. Stay tuned. Next set, we put it all together for continuous.
All together. That's right. So let's go back to that bodyweight squat one last time here today. Pull a kettlebell into that imaginary racks position. Take a sniff in on the down and pull yourself to your safe low and tall tension to stand. Check your shield. Pull yourself down again and full body tension to stand. Repeating one more time for our last set on this side. Tall stand. Then catch it on that other side. For some reason, it looks cool when Lauren does it on video. I'm not sure about me. But here we go. We'll pull ourselves down. Where do you like that hand? Find some personalization within the structure.
It's hard when it's body weight, actually.
Barehanded. Pull in, hand tight. One last cue. The kettlebell will be out front, so it's the back that needs to have that strength to keep the bell tight to the body. We'll pull ourselves low one last time. Tall stand. And then imaginarily put it to the floor. Let it go, shake it out. And now we're on those continuous style swings. I go, you go.
So we're putting everything together here. We have a hike pass, drive the bell through, and then keeping it tight on the way down, repeating. We'll do the I go, you go. So Team Ian will start here. If you're swinging with Ian, you're swinging. If you're swinging with me, take a break and let's watch. 5 continuous swings here just to get that endurance a little bit started. Feel what it's like to swing a single arm bell and parking with control.
Whew. Parking with control. Each rep probably feels a little more challenging than the next, but at the same time, they might feel a little bit more, familiar. Take your time, increase your power, and maintain your form. We'll do this on the other side, and we'll provide a little quick body weight example of how we can bridge that gap between the the deadlift, and then this one arm swing. But before that, let's just get going.
Hike passes and stop swings too.
I know.
So you can practice those. If you are practicing this continuous swing, you have that off arm that's swinging with you. On this side, you'll be able to see it swinging back by Ian's hip and coming through to the front. Oftentimes, as we're learning the single arm swing, that off arm is the most confusing. So what I do tell new students to do with this is touch the bell out front. I'll do that in this set here.
Great cues. Excellent cues. So the feet are rooted, the high tension is there, and just like the two-handed swing, we breathe, matching the extension or the powerful phase for the bell flight. Shake it out. Before we do a couple more sets of those, which we will, let's take a quick moment and go over a body weight example of how we can really finesse that timing between the one arm swing. Start at the top, and whether we're here in the rack or two hands out front, this hand out front has that kettlebell, and hold your plank tension and slowly let the hand come down to the groin. Then hinge back. We could extend that elbow out the back. And as we come up, keep your hand tight to the hips until pow. Then let the kettlebell float and hold. Let's just switch one repetition on the other side. The kettlebell is in the hand out front, and we're holding our plank nice and tall until the arm connects to the hips. Then we'll hinge on the hips, ensuring our shoulders are staying square, and then extend the hips, then float that kettlebell, and return to a nice strong position out front. Let that go. And again, those body weight examples, inclusive of the hike pass, the stop, and the deadlift, will help us get to that one arm swing with power and perfection.
So we're continuing in our I go, you go pattern here. So Team Ian is up for another set of 5 single arm swings. Let's do this 2 more times, but maybe a 3 we'll see as we keep going. We have 5 single arm swings here. Again, as mentioned, you could be practicing the body weight. You could be practicing the single arm deadlift. You could be practicing your hike passes or your stop swings. My turn.
5 on one side and 5 on the other. We do like to give ourselves with that 1-to-1 work-rest ratio. Not always working from a deficit, and again, that allows us to maintain our form, and it also really does help that performance.
So Team Ian, second arm here. Things you're thinking about are keeping that bell tight to the body as you hinge. The closer to the zipper, the more the weight's on your hips. The further away it gets, the more it loads your back. So keep that right tight to the pants as you put the bell through your hips.
Tight to the pants, and always being ready for that Polish punch, the shield. We've mentioned it a couple different times, whether it's your core, your shield, or your abs. We want to stay engaged, and there's high tension in the swing and extremely high tension when the kettlebell is out front.
All right, Team Ian here for round 2 of 3. There you go. We're doing it for one more time after this. 5 continuous swings here. We're getting used to that off arm swinging with us. We're keeping our body square to the front of the room, and also we're thinking about both hips driving through.
Both hips. Prevent the twist. Although twisting is useful for golf and other sport applications, here, consider driving those hips straight through and avoid letting the kettlebell pull you to one side or the other.
Team Ian, second side of round 2. One more round after this. Your setup is a very important part of your kettlebell swing. So make sure you engage that lat, pack the shoulder before you pick the bell up off the floor.
Ooh, starting to feel a little winded? How about yourself? Take that rest, as Lauren's doing here very nicely. Maintain that form. Get in touch, reflect, and get excited to do it this one last time.
Excuse me. One last set for Team Ian here on each side. Let's run it from the top. Shoulders packed, bell is ending at chest height. You're in that plank position. Hips are driving the bell through, and feet are staying rooted.
Lauren just touched on something I continue to work on in my swings, which is that straight elbow and the shoulder pack. We want to connect that kettlebell, even though it's far out front, onto the shoulder blade, onto the ribs, and then onto the hips with your abs. Connect that bell. Let's do it that one last time collectively here. Strong set of 5. Hike and pull. And two.
Last set for Team Ian here. Again, thinking there's a lot of things to think about when you're swinging. Maybe one set you think only about your breath. The next set you think about your arm. The next set you think about your hips. And one day you'll be able to think about it all at once. Or think you can think about it all.
That's right. Start from the core and then go to the ground. Then the hand on the kettlebell. Make sure that you have security with your feet rooted, your hands on the kettlebell, and always that ever-present strength for your core.
So as mentioned, in the 6-week semester, we're going to build our single arm swings, our more ballistic cleans, which we'll dabble in next week, as well as our presses. Bringing back lessons from last semester and drills, we are now going to go back to the get up, do a get up up. At the top, perform a couple presses, and then get back down with that bell.
And what's a couple for you today?
I'm thinking, as you can hear from the sounds of us, we may be fighting a little something. So I'm thinking about 3 presses, but we'll see how I'm feeling up there.
Sounds good. And 1 set each side or 2?
Let's do 2 rounds.
Excellent.
Okay,
Let's
come down to the floor.
No rules on the get.
So now, even though we said we are feeling a little bit under the weather, we are doing a light workout. You should know that these are our lighter bells. So we have belled down a little bit. We're doing a little bit less reps, and we're also taking some days off in between. So don't think that we just work through
Do not.
illness. We're just doing this for you,
Just
really.
doing it for the YouTube. So subscribe and share and like, and we hope to see you again. But until then, it's time to get up the last couple times today. It's a cuddle roll press. It's a hip drive to the elbow, a tall sit, and we're staring at that bell. We bridge, we sweep, we press the floor away and square up a lunge. Tall stand. Now at your discretion, perform presses. This is 1, full tension. Breath in on the down, tension up. Perform 1 more time for 3, and then drop. The leg you can touch to the back. Look at that kettlebell as you windmill. Grab the floor, sweep through, find the elbow, and find your back. 2 hands on, give it a cuddle. Same thing, other side.
So we'll repeat on the other side, trying to hit the same number of presses you did on that side over here. From the cuddle to the roll to the press. This is a hip drive and pull. Then it's a squish in the bug. It's a bridge and a sweep. We get to that lunge position, use those vector forces to help you up.
Vectors.
Once you're there, we pull the bell down to that rack position. Looks familiar from earlier today. And we press. We have that strong core, that strong base. We'll step back, pull ourselves down, rotate under the bell, sweep, elbow, and to our back. Pull the bell down, return it to the cuddle. We'll perform that little ditty 1 more time on each side.
And then consistency, find a way to make it a little easier. Or Lauren, what's the challenge for that press number today as we finish?
I'm personally feeling good at number 3.
Perfect.
What did
Finish
you
like you
want?
could do more.
What did you want the
I
answer
want to be
be?
like you. I want to be like you. So I'm going to do 3-2. So here we are in the firing range, and we'll press and pull. Tall sit with a squish of the bug. Bridge and sweep. Find your tall lunge and then square it up. Tall stand next. Then breath in on the down and attention up. 1. Breath in and squeeze your bum. And number 3, finish tall. Then drop the leg back with control. Open, looking at that kettlebell in the windmill. And then sweep a leg. Find the elbow and to your back. 2 hands. I think I am sweating a little bit more than I should be in today's practice, but I do think that feels okay too. You have to listen to your body and take a day off where you need, but a little sweat can help that circulation and make you feel alive at the same time.
All right, we have 1 more round of get-ups here today. So from that cuddle roll, remembering this first move is not a crunch. It's a hip drive and a pull. Squishing the bug, we bridge and sweep, pressing the floor away, and ending up in that lunge. Last set of presses here. Pick a number that's hopefully the same as the other side. Challenging but doable. And then controlling that get up, back down through that full pattern, looking at your bell as you sweep, finding the elbow, and controlling to our back. pulling down and returning it to a cuddle. Take your time coming up.
Wow.
So as we transition to a new semester, you might say, this class is a little bit slower than the last 6th week, or we did 100 swings.
Thank
Life
goodness.
doesn't always have to be that fast, hard workout. We do want to ebb and flow those workouts as we go. So don't you worry, stay tuned. Each week we'll be progressing our skills and adding some more reps and some more volume. So by week 6, boom, big pump.
But until week 6, we have to finish out week 1 with 2 more live 30-minute classes, or maybe in the archive if that's where you prefer to train. Thursdays, we train with the bar for plies and mobility on the hips, and we do integrate our kettlebells for some presses as well. And on Saturdays, we play with our strength. Right back here, we might climb that wall for a handstand, but first, we'll work on the
Crawl and
core,
roll.
we'll work on those rolls and crawls, and have fun on Saturday morning with your own body weight
And single
us.
leg strength. So until then, check out our YouTube, check out our Patreon, like and subscribe, as well join our newsletter mailing list to receive the most current and up-to-date, exciting news that there may be.
There is.
Until Thursday, take care, stay strong,
We'll train
and we'll train
soon.
soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.